Hi, hey, I'm Morgan, and today I'm here to bring you my 2016 reading wrap-up and my goals for 2017. As I started my booktube in early December, I figured that instead of doing a December wrap-up, I would just give you a wrap-up of everything I read. 2016 was wild. I ended up reading 23 books this year, which isn't bad, but it's a little less than half of the Goodreads goal that I had set for myself, which was 50 books. I think in 2017 I am going to set a reading goal of 50 books again. I don't want to do more or less. I think I'll be able to do 50 books next year because I am more pumped up about the books coming out in 2017 as well as the books that I plan on reading this year. I'm not going to dive too deeply into the synopsis of each individual book. If you would like reviews on any of these books, let me know. I have a lot of thoughts about a majority of them. So I started 2016 pretty strong with More Happy Than Not by Adam Silvera. Oh, this book. This book is absolutely phenomenal. I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. I flew through it. I think I read it in 2 days. The best way I can describe this book is that it is very much like a YA contemporary novel version of the film Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, which is one of my favorite films of all time, and I highly, highly, highly recommend you pick up this book. I could do a review on this book if necessary. I might do it. I love this book. I love this book. I love this book. The next book I picked up in 2016 was a reread, but it was Our Numbered Days by Neil Hilborn, which is a collection of poems. Neil Hilborn is a spoken word artist and a slam poet, and this is his little chapbook of poems. I actually had the pleasure of seeing Neil perform this year and meeting him, and he signed my book and personalized it. Neil Hilborn is amazing. He had a poem that went incredibly viral on the internet. It's called OCD. Everyone and their mom has seen that poem. I love this book. I love Neil. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. The third book I read this year, I saw it at the book loft every time I was there, and I was like, ooh, this looks interesting, every single time. And then I picked it up last year in 2015 for my birthday. I read it, and I didn't like it, and that is Me Being Me is Exactly as Insane as You Being You, a novel in lists by Todd Hasaklowy. Probably pronounced that wrong. I didn't like this book in the slightest. I gave it 1 star on Goodreads. I'm sure there's other people that enjoyed this book. It just wasn't for me. The writing was decent, but I just couldn't find myself getting into it. So unfortunately I gave this 1 star, and this book threw me into a pretty major reading slump. The next book I picked up was thankfully a great one, and it was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which is the introductory story to the Lunar Chronicles series. I absolutely adored this novel. I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. The only thing that kept me from bumping it up to a 5 star was because a lot of the plots seemed a bit predictable to me. I love Marissa Meyer's writing style. I love the characters. I really, really enjoyed this book, and I can't wait to continue the rest of the series. The next book I read was I Hate My Selfie, a collection of essays by Shane Dawson, who's a very popular YouTuber. Everyone knows who Shane Dawson is. I gave this 3 stars on Goodreads. If I was, 13 and just starting my Shane Dawson phase, I think I would have enjoyed it a little bit more, but now being 21 years old and being a lot more socially aware of things and having a totally different sense of humor, I couldn't get into this. There were a lot of things that I didn't find very funny. Sorry, I'm an overly offended feminist millennial. I didn't quite enjoy this as much as I thought, but I still gave it 3 stars. The next book I read was My Drunk Kitchen, A Guide to Eating, Drinking, and Going with Your Gut by Hannah Hart. This is literally just a cookbook. I read a cookbook, cover to cover, and I really enjoyed it. I gave this 4 stars. I really liked it. I love Hannah Hart. I really want to pick up her memoir Buffering this year because she recently released that, and I'm so excited for her. I think Hannah Hart is one of the most amazing content creators on YouTube, as well as one of the most amazing people, and John Green wrote the foreword to this, so that's pretty cool. But I love this. There's a lot of cute little life lessons and a lot of cute pictures of Hannah. I adore this book. It was so sweet. And then I picked up Attachments by Rainbow Rowell, which is the only adult book I read this year. I gave this book 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I love the characters. I love Rainbow Rowell's writing. I think that she is an amazing author. I was really worried about how her writing would transpire into adult, but I really liked this. This book was amazing. It was so cute. It was fascinating. And I love this cover. And then I read The Best American Poetry of 2014, edited by Terrence Hayes. I love poetry. I write and perform spoken word and slam poetry, so I love reading any other type of material that I can get my hands on. I definitely plan on reading more poetry this year. I gave this 3 stars. I enjoyed some poems, didn't enjoy some. What are you gonna do? All in all, this was a really great collection of work. The next book I read this year was Carry On by Rainbow Rowell, which is I'm going to call it a companion novel to Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell, though you don't have to read Fangirl to understand what's going on in this. To my knowledge, this is the fan fiction that Kath is writing in Fangirl, I think. I gave this 3 stars on Goodreads. I liked it. It was very hard for me to separate this from Harry Potter. It felt like Harry Potter fan fiction, and I feel bad because I know it's Fangirl's version of Harry Potter, but it just, if I wanted to read Harry Potter, I would read Harry Potter. Speak of the devil, the next book I read was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone by J.K. Rowling. This is like my 10th time rereading this series. I literally finished Carry On and was like, okay, well, now for the real thing. So I started a Harry Potter reread, gave this 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. Like, who am I? And I couldn't stop there. So I read Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets by J.K. Rowling and also gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Spoiler alert, 2016, I read another cookbook. I read Nerdy Nummies by Rosanna Pansino, and I like this a lot. I literally gave this 4 stars. I literally read step-by-step instruction on how to make moon phase macarons and was like riveted. I love baking and I love Ro. I think she's an adorable human. So yeah, I gave 4 stars to a cookbook. Judge me. Next book I read was Bossy Pants by Tina Fey, which is a memoir. I absolutely adore Tina Fey, and I've been just on a memoirs kick lately, and Tina Fey is just an amazing writer, an amazing person, and I absolutely adored this. I ended up giving it 4 stars, and oh my gosh, can she just write more books? I love this. I loved it so much. She's an incredible woman, and just Next book I read was The Little Book of Wonder Woman, which is, I think it's edited by Taschin, or I don't think it's written by them, but that's the only name that's on this whole book is Taschin. Wonder Woman is my favorite superhero of all time. I love Diana Prince. I love the story of Wonder Woman, and this is just like, has little snippets of Wonder Woman comics. Enjoyed it. It was fun to flip through. I read it in like one sitting, like 25 minutes. Like, it's literally just all comics. I ended up giving it 3 stars. I wanted more just like writing in it, you know, looking for more about like the actual like who wrote Wonder Woman and the publishing process and how it was received and things like that, rather than just comic strips. But I did enjoy it. It's really cute and it's nice to have on my shelf. And then I went right along and continued my Harry Potter reread and read The Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, and obviously gave this 5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, Prisoner of Azkaban is one of my favorites in the series. I really enjoy it. It's so good. It's Harry Potter. Like, when am I ever gonna not give a Harry Potter book 5 out of 5 stars? Not only did I read a lot of cookbooks this year, but I started a lot of popular series, only read the first book, and then continued my Harry Potter reread. I am jumping on this so late, but I read, for the very first time, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, Book 1, The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. I really enjoyed this. I know. Oh god, don't fight me. Don't fight me. I've never read anything by Rick Riordan until this. Now that like Sarah J Maas is in the limelight, I'm like skulking in the darkness reading Percy Jackson. I really enjoy this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It was really well written, really funny. I love the characters, and I'm very excited to read the rest of the series and the rest of Rick Riordan's work. Is it Riordan or Riordan? I don't know. I'm gonna say Riordan until somebody corrects me. And the next one I read was a reread, Speak by Laurie House Anderson. I haven't read this since I was about 14 years old and a freshman in high school, and I was 20 when I reread this. I'm now 21. This book is so important. I read it as a required reading, and I actually got in trouble because I read the entire book in one sitting and got all the work done for it like super early, like before everybody else, and everyone was mad at me. But I absolutely adore this novel. I could do a review on it if need be. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. I think that everyone should read this book at least once. It's just one of those. It's so good. I thoroughly enjoyed my reread of this book, because there was a 6-year gap between first reading it and rereading it, and things that have happened to me in the span of that 6 years really hit home when I read this. Remember when I said I would never give Harry Potter anything less than 5 stars? Well, I lied to you. I gave Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by Jack Thorne 3 out of 5 stars, which even that I feel is pretty generous. I didn't like this play at all. I'm not going to call it a book. I'm not going to call it a novel because it's not a novel. It's a play. It's a script. It didn't feel like Harry Potter at all. I felt like I was watching a fan fiction unfold. I felt like I was watching a Harry Potter sequel, but not as good. Like, I would never offend StarKid by saying this was on par with a Harry Potter sequel, because at least a Harry Potter sequel like described how we got to places better than this. Like, I just it frustrates me so bad. I plan on doing a book talk for this if anyone is interested. I pretend this book didn't exist. So the next book I read was Romeo and or Juliet by Ryan North, which is a choose your own adventure book. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I used to love choose your own adventure books when I was a kid. I obviously didn't read it cover to cover, but I got through a lot of the possible endings and alterations of the story, but I'm gonna leave it there. I do flip through this every so often, but I did flip through it quite a few times and get a few awesome endings, and I really enjoyed this. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. It was super cute. He recently put out a Hamlet version called To Be or Not to Be, That Is the Adventure, and I plan on picking that up as well. Also, this cover is super cute. Like, I love that. It looks so nice on my shelves, and it's illustrated super cutely. I'm pretty sure Noelle Stevenson did some of the illustrations in this. Noelle Stevenson wrote Nimona as well as illustrated the Fangirl cover. So yeah, if you like Noelle Stevenson's art and choose your own adventure books and Shakespeare, I highly recommend you pick this up. The next book I read was Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, which is another collection of poetry. I saw this floating around on BookTube and on Tumblr, and there was a lot of hype surrounding this book. I ended up giving it 3 out of 5 stars. It wasn't the best collection of poetry I've read, but it wasn't the worst. I did enjoy it. It was well written. I will say that there are a lot of poems in this book referring back to sexual assault and trauma, so if that is something that you are sensitive to, I would tiptoe lightly around this book. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't my favorite, and I felt it to be a little underwhelming. That was so mean. The next book I read this year was My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, which I really liked. Grady Hendrix has amazing formatting when it comes to books. Horror Store is designed to look like an old IKEA catalog, and this is formatted to look like a high school yearbook that's in the 80s. I love anything 80s, so I got a huge kick out of this book. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. And to continue my Harry Potter reread, which I was kind of pacing myself through, I read The Goblet of Fire by Harry Potter. I read Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling, and once again gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is my favorite book in the Harry Potter series. It's just so good. I love it. I love it dearly. It just makes my heart happy. And the last book I read this year was Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix by J.K. Rowling, and I once again gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It's been a while since I've reread. It's been a while. Oh no. I don't know what came over me. it's been quite some time since I've reread the series, especially the last 3 books in the series, so this one hit me hard and I forgot a lot of the things that happen in it, and I think it's been about 5 or so years since I've read it, and I remember the last time I read this I was so irked by Harry's angst that I just like couldn't do it. But if you look at what Harry's going through, like, his angst is understandable. Like, why is everyone so, like, anytime I see someone talk about this book, like, Harry's angst, he's watching people die every day of his life. Like, I'd be angsty too. So that was it. Those were the books that I read this year, and for 2017 I definitely plan on starting out the year finishing the Harry Potter series, as well as finishing all the other series that I started this year and just getting to all those books that I've been really anticipated about, like the Lunar Chronicles and the Percy Jackson series, and I just plan on reading a bunch of good books and, you know, reviewing more. Now with my booktube channel I have a little bit more motivation to read so I can talk to other people about the books that I've been reading. 2016 was crazy. I didn't read that much, but what I did read, the majority of it I did really like, so I'm super excited for what 2017 holds, and I'm excited to see how 2017 works out for all my other fellow booktubers out there. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoyed this video. Give a comment if you read any of these books this year, or if you'd like to see any reviews, and I'll see you guys in the near future. Okay, bye!